So this Saturday we have Ilya El Matador Topuria taking on Max Holloway as his first title defense. And I'm going to be giving my predictions on the entire fight card, so let's just get straight into it. So first fight we have is Ibo Aslan versus Rafael Sergeria. Oh look, this Ibo Aslan guy, he's from Turkey. He's the most Turkish guy. Like, bro, just look at him. If I didn't know which country he was from, yeah, and I just saw him one time, I would straight away know this guy's from Turkey. This guy's the most Turkish looking guy of all time. But anyway, he's 13-1. Rafael is 11-0. Aslan is on a 5-fight win streak, and he's also got 100% KO. Like 100% of his wins coming by way of KO. Sergeria also has 10 out of his 11 wins coming by way of finish. But saying that, I am going to go with Ibo Aslan to get this done via KO, maybe in like the first or second round. But yeah, Ibo Aslan to get the KO here. Next fight we have is Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Nursultan Uziboyev. Rinat Fakhretdinov is a 22-1 fighter, whereas Uziboyev is 34-9. We saw kind of recently Nursultan Uziboyev versus Joaquin Buckley, where basically Joaquin Buckley just cruised to a victory via decision. Uziboyev 6'5", tallest in the division. But Fakhretdinov, we saw him last fight against Nicholas Dalby. We did see him get tested there a little bit, I'll be so real. Obviously, I do think he won, but it was a very close fight. So yeah, I don't know how he's gonna hold up in this fight, especially because I do believe that Nursultan Uziboyev is a better opponent than Nicholas Dalby. But yeah, saying that, I do believe, Uziboyev is, a bit of a hit and miss fighter, so therefore I do believe that Rinat Fakhretdinov will get this done. I don't think by anything flashy, maybe just a decision. But yeah, I do think this is going to be a close fight, but I'll go with Rinat Fakhretdinov by decision. Okay, and then next up, Ismail Nordiev versus Bruno Silva. Nordiev 23-7. I don't know why it says 19-4 on the UFC website, but Nordiev won his last fight, but then lost the two before that, so he is 1-2 in his last 3 fights. As you see in his picture, it is an old picture. He's wearing the Reebok shorts. He did actually fight in the UFC like in 2020, so like 4 years ago, and then I think he got cut, so he's been fighting in other promotions ever since, but now he's back. So yeah, and then we have Bruno Silva, 23-11, not the best record, and he has lost his last 3 fights, so that is also not good. So yeah, but he does have 20 out of his 23 wins coming by way of knockout, which is why I do think he may be able to get this KO knockout for the win. So that's who I will go for. I'll go for Bruno Silva by KO knockout against Ismail Nordiev. Next up, Farid Basharat versus Victor Hugo. Our first undefeated fighter in Farid Basharat. 12-0 record for him. We also have Victor Hugo, 25-4 record with a 14 win streak. And to be honest, I'm gonna pick Victor Hugo. I know Farid Basharat is undefeated, but I think Victor Hugo will get this done by submission. Just because he's good at getting submissions. He's got a lot of submissions within his career. Very good on the ground, very technical, and good at latching up submissions. So I think he will be able to get that against Farid Basharat. I don't think Farid Basharat is actually that good, to be honest. So I think Victor Hugo will hand Farid Basharat his first ever loss. Next fight, Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Justin Tafa, the brother of the most salty fighter in the UFC, Junior Tafa. But we're not here to talk about Junior Tafa. So look, Kennedy Nzechukwu, 12-5 record, lost his last 2 fights, and he is actually pretty much a light heavyweight. So he's fighting a heavyweight now against Justin Tafa. 7-4 record for Justin Tafa, 100% KO record, KO in all of his wins, of course. Lost his last fight, then won before that, then had no contest before that. So I do believe, look, if it goes to a decision, Nzechukwu is gonna win it. Realistically, he's faster, more skillful, more technical, but Justin Tafa's, of course, got that crazy KO power, and if he's able to get that shot, I think it's lights out for Kennedy. So for that reason, I do believe Tafa can get it. He just needs to set it up correctly, and if he can get it, then easy KO for Tafa. And so yeah, I'm gonna go with Justin Tafa to get this done by KO. Next fight we have is Abu Sufyan Magomedov versus Bruno Ferreira. Abu Sufyan, let's call him Abus Magomedov, 26-6 record. He won his last fight, then lost the two before that to Caio Borralho and Sean Strickland. So I mean, that's fair enough. Those are two very high level opponents there. Bruno Ferreira, 12-1 record, won his last two by KO, and then lost before that to Nursultan Ruziboyev. So, you know, I think it will be close. I'm not really too sure to go with here because I haven't really seen much of Bruno Ferreira or Abus, to be honest. But I will go with Ferreira by KO. I think you know, he's got some good power, and I think if he's able to get the shot off, he will be able to KO Abus Magomedov. So yeah. Next fight, Saeed Nurmagomedov versus Daniel Santos. Saeed 18-3. He is 2-1 in his last 3 fights. He lost to Jonathan Martinez 2 fights ago. Daniel Santos, 12-2 fighter, won his last 2, and then lost before that. So he's 2-1 in his last 3 fights. I think Saeed Nurmagomedov can get this done via decision. You know, I don't know how he's not ranked yet, but he's very skillful, very technical, and I think overall he can get the win here. Next fight, Mateusz Rebecki versus the man, the myth, the legend, Miktebek Oralbai, the direct descendant of Genghis Khan. Look, Rebecki's 19-2, lost his last fight, but before that he had a few wins. Oralbai 13-1. He's on he won his last 3 fights, and you know, he's a very tough fighter. You know, he's pretty skillful, pretty technical. I think he will get this done via decision. You know, I'm not really going to pick against the main man, Miktebek Oralbai. So yeah. Next fight, Jeff Neal versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Look, I love RDA. He's one of my favorite fighters, but realistically, I don't really give him any chance in this fight. You know, I hope he wins because he's one of my favorite fighters. You know, he's a veteran. He's been in this game a long time. You know, since the days of Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis and all those guys back in the day. So he's been around for a while. But yeah, 32-16 record. He's been through it, man. He lost his last 2. To be fair, Jeff Neal did also lose his last 2 to Ian Gary and Shavkat. Then he won 2 against Luque before that, but you know, it is Shavkat and Ian Gary at the end of the day, 2 very high level opponents. And I do think Jeff Neal is very well rounded. You know, he's got good takedown defense. We saw that in the Bilal fight a long time ago. He's also, you know, good on the feet, very good on the feet. So I do think Jeff Neal via decision against RDA. Next fight we have is Sharon Magomedov versus Roman Petrosyan. Look, I do think Sharaput Magomedov will win this fight. But to be honest, I wasn't that impressed with him. You know, I think he was a bit overhyped. You know, he does look like a flipping pirate, so, and he's got one eye, so he is a pretty cool guy, pretty cool you know, figure. But you know, he's middleweight. I do think he should fight at welterweight because I do think he's pretty small for the division. Obviously very good kickboxing, not much power though. You know, he's kind of a volume type of guy like Max Holloway. We saw he barely even got Tricoli out of there. Tricoli was just giving him the free TKO win, so you know, Shepperton basically had to get the TKO there. He didn't really have a choice. Roman Petrosyan, not seen too much of him. You know, he lost his last fight. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Sharaput Magomedov via decision here. I doubt he can get a TKO or a KO. So yeah, Sharaput Magomedov via decision. Next fight we have is Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. Look, I think Magomed Ankalaev deserves an apology. I viewed him as this wrestling guy. I never really watched his fights. A few videos ago, I was just trashing him, saying, "Oh, I hope Rakic beats him," because if Magomed Ankalaev goes on to win against Rakic and then gets a title shot, he is going to beat Pereira. What I didn't know is, Ankalaev has never got a submission victory in his entire career. Genuinely, I was so shocked when I saw it, but yeah, it's crazy. Ankalaev never submitted someone in his career. I thought he was like a heavy wrestler. I guess I thought wrong, but yeah. We've seen him KO quite a few guys. And to be honest, he did deserve that title shot. UFC just hate him because they don't want to see him as champion. To be fair, he did draw against Jan Blachowicz a while ago, but yeah, anyway. So we saw Rakic 2 losses in a row now. I don't know what he did to deserve a fight against Magomed Ankalaev. He got knocked out by Yuri in his last fight at UFC 300. Ankalaev won his last fight against Johnny Walker via KO. So yeah, I think overall Ankalaev via decision here. Maybe he can get the KO. But Rakic is very technical. We saw in that first round against Yuri Prohaska, he's good with leg kicks and he's just very crisp. But he's very uniform. He's very textbook. He's got no. He's very predictable, and he's not very awkward. I think Ankalaev, he can mix in the takedowns as well, and I think overall, Magomed Ankalaev can get it done by decision here. So that's who I'm gonna go with. Next fight we have Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. Lerone Murphy 14-0 record. From England, big up. Then we've got Dan Ige 18-8 record. Lost his last fight infamously on 2 hours notice. I think it's the shortest notice fight ever in UFC history against Diego Lopez at UFC 303. Big up to him for coming to fight on 3 hours notice. But anyway, I'm sure he's had a nice little training camp now. Murphy won his last fight against Edson Barboza. Dan Ige, he's kind of a hit and miss fighter. We saw him against Calvin Kattar. We saw him against Diego Lopez, of course. We saw him get that amazing KO over Philly not too long ago. But overall, I do believe Murphy will get the decision here. I think Ige, he gets better as the fight goes on. We saw that against Diego Lopez, where in the third round he definitely won that. Who knows what would have happened if that was a 5-round fight. But yeah, I think for now, Lerone Murphy is not that good. He's good, but I don't think he's up there I don't think he can compete with the very best of the division. But I think against Dan Ige, who's, realistically a bit of an average fighter, I do think Lerone Murphy can get a decision win here. So I'm going to go with Lerone Murphy. Big up the Brum boy. I think he is from Birmingham, right? I don't even know. I'm just guessing based off his accent. But yeah, Lerone Murphy via decision here. And next up on the co-main event, man, this fight is the one that I don't know who to pick, yeah. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. First of all, is Khamzat Chimaev actually going to turn up, hopefully? Hopefully he doesn't have some health issue one day before the fight. But look, Whittaker 27-7 record. Former champion, of course. He's been one of the longest, people within the middleweight division. He's been there for ages. He's fought everyone basically. So got that crazy experience against everyone. Khamzat Chimaev, though, we've seen him fight against Kamaru, seen him fight against Gilbert. He's never really fought against the middleweight, to be honest. He won. He beat Kevin Holland, yeah, but that doesn't really count. But yeah, it's just been so long since we've seen him. I don't know how he's gonna be. He might be a bit rusty. Obviously, we've seen him with that relentless grappling. He can take anyone down. Realistically, he's some crazy guy, but we've seen his main weakness, and that is his cardio, right? As the fight goes on, his cardio, I don't know if it's his fault because he does have some weak immune system, and it is a bit peak on him because if he had some good cardio, he'd be the best fighter in the world probably. But we've seen his cardio, we've seen Whittaker's cardio as well. Whittaker's cardio is good. He can stay in the fight until the very last second. Khamzat Chimaev, he can strike. We've seen that with Usman. We've seen that with Gilbert Burns. But yeah, I mean, obviously his main thing he does is his wrestling. Whittaker, will he have good enough takedown defense? I believe he probably can. And originally I had Chimaev via submission here, but the more I think about it, the more reasons I find to pick Whittaker for this fight. He won his last 2 fights, and I do believe that Whittaker will get a KO / TKO / a decision against Chimaev, and I think mainly just because of his cardio. I don't think when Chimaev takes you down, I don't think he poses enough of a submission attempt to where I think Whittaker's in trouble. I don't think that's what's going on here. For that reason, obviously we've seen Whittaker. He can do pretty much everything. Very well rounded. So I will pick Whittaker for the decision. But I think, obviously, like I said, Chimaev's cardio goes down and his input goes down as the fight goes on. So I think maybe Whittaker can catch Chimaev in like the 4th round, maybe. So yeah, maybe by TKO. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to be annoyed if I don't get this right, but yeah, I'm going to go with Whittaker to get this done. And finally, of course, we have the main event, Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. First of all, Max Holloway, 26-7 record. He's fought so many people. He's been around for ages. Obviously, former champion. He did have 3 defenses, so probably one of the best featherweights of all time. He's fought on McGregor. He's fought on Volkanovski 3 times. He's fought Brian Ortega, Calvin Keita. So many people. Jose Aldo, of course, and so many others. But what he's known for is his striking, right? He's not really known for any grappling, but he's high volume. Doesn't exactly have the most power. We've seen him get TKOs, but that's mostly because of his volume. It's just he punches you so much until you just can't carry on anymore. Kind of like what we saw in the Pereira versus Cleo Roundtree fight, where Cleo Roundtree just couldn't take it anymore. But I think if we look at Ilia Topuria now, 15-0. Wow, man, this guy, to be honest, he kind of had a quick come up. He didn't really win against anyone. He won against Josh Emmett. He won against Bryce Mitchell. But apart from that, he never really beat anyone like with a big name, apart from Volkanovski, of course. Listen, I don't think he's as good as people say he is. Like, people kind of say oh my god, he's so good, bro. Like that against that Volkanovski in that title fight at 298, he was getting beaten until he got that KO. So yeah, but yeah, obviously he got some crazy knockout power, and the crazy thing about him is that he's so good at boxing, but he is a grappler. Like, he was known for grappling back in the day. He's utilized his boxing more in the UFC, but he can literally do both. So that is a big problem for Holloway, because where he has one aspect of MMA, which is striking, Ilia Topuria has that probably to a similar level to Holloway, and he also has the grappling element of the MMA. So that could be a tough night for Holloway. And to be honest, even though I think Topuria is a bit overrated, genuinely I think Topuria is going to get this done. I'm very sure. I'm like 75% sure that Ilia Topuria is going to win. I don't see any world in which Holloway wins, to be honest. I don't think Holloway is going to be able to strike that much with Topuria. I think Topuria is very slick with his boxing, very good at striking, very good at grappling. He's the complete package. It sounds like I'm glazing, but he is really that good. And if Holloway does win this, obviously it's just going to be over 5 rounds just striking him. There's no world in which I see Holloway getting the KO or TKO submission. Never is Holloway getting a finish if he does win this fight. Topuria, genuinely, I can see him winning this in whichever style he wants. Yeah, if he wants to knock him out, he has the power for it, and he does have the setups for it. He's very good at body shots, very good at getting that right hook and just putting them to sleep. We've seen it against Jai Herbert. We've seen it against Volkanovski, of course. And obviously he put a battery on Josh Emmett. And also he can submit him, Holloway, if he wants to. Or he could just, win a decision. I don't favour him in a decision because, we've seen Holloway when it goes to decision, he does normally win. Unless your name is Alexander Volkanovski. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Topuria to win this via KO/sub. I do think Topuria will get the finish, whatever it may be, but I do believe Topuria is going to win this. There's genuinely hardly any scenarios I can think of where Holloway wins this. And I know people are saying this is a 50-50 fight, but genuinely, I do not think that. I guess we're going to have to see. But yeah, that's my pick, Ilia Topuria. And those are my picks for the entire fight. Genuinely, this is a bit of a longer one because this is the best card of the year. So I had to go in depth a little bit. Yeah, without a doubt, best card of the year. But to be fair, we do have some bangers lined up. 309 and 310 are going to be sick as well. So yeah, in the comment section down below, let me know who you guys are picking. And yeah, that's about it. Safe.